On that cold and rainy night, Gabriel arrived in the city he had sworn never to set foot in again. As he stepped off the train, he felt the heavy, icy air laden with bitter memories. The city seemed to be trapped in a perpetual cycle of decay, where time passed, but nothing changed. The streets were a labyrinth of dark, dirty alleys where hope had been lost long ago. Gabriel walked with difficulty, braving the cutting wind and incessant rain. Each step took him back to the past, to the memories he had fought so hard to forget. Turning the corner, he saw the place where there had once been a bustling bar, now just an abandoned, graffiti-covered building. The bar had been a meeting point for sailors, where nights were filled with poker and cheap drinks. Now all that remained was filth and despair. He continued walking, passing unknown faces and suspicious glances. No one there seemed to have friends. Distrust was the currency. Finally, he reached the decrepit hotel where he had once stayed. The reception was empty, and the air inside the building was heavy with the smell of mold and abandonment. Gabriel climbed the creaky stairs to his old room. Opening the door, he found everything exactly as he had left it. The room was dusty, and a fallen wine bottle had left a dark stain on the carpet. It was as if time had stood still there. Sitting on the edge of the bed, Gabriel was overcome by a sense of déjà vu. It was as if he had never really left that cursed city. He thought of the generations that had passed through there, all born and dying in the same cycle of misery and danger. Gabriel remembered the friends he had lost, how no one there could maintain true friendships. The city corroded any bond of affection with its constant threat of violence. As he reflected on his decision to return, a sharp, persistent sound interrupted his thoughts. It was a metallic sound, almost like a wail coming from the depths of the hotel. Gabriel felt a chill down his spine and decided to investigate the source of the noise. Walking down the dimly lit corridors, he followed the sound to a locked door at the end of the hallway. When he tried to open the door, it gave way with a sinister creak, revealing a staircase descending into a dark basement. The sound grew louder as he descended the steps, like an irresistible call. At the bottom of the basement, Gabriel found an old wooden chest. He hesitated for a moment, but curiosity got the better of him. With an effort, he opened the chest and found a dusty diary inside. Flipping through the yellowed pages, he discovered stories of people who, like him, had returned to the city and mysteriously disappeared. Each diary entry ended abruptly, without explanation. Gabriel felt a chill run through his body when he realized that one of the last entries was signed with his father's name, who had disappeared years ago without a trace. The metallic sound intensified, and Gabriel looked up, only to see a shadow moving in the corner of the basement. Fear and curiosity mixed, and he knew he was about to uncover a dark secret that the city had hidden for generations. Gabriel was at the bottom of the dark basement, holding the dusty diary. The pages, fragile with age, told stories of disappearances and buried secrets. His father, who had mysteriously disappeared years ago, had left clues in the last pages of the diary. Each word was a fragment of a dark puzzle that Gabriel felt an urgent need to solve. As he absorbed the information, the persistent metallic sound echoed through the basement, like a sinister clock marking the time. The shadow he had seen before continued to move in the corner of the basement, fueling his fear and curiosity. Determined to uncover the truth, Gabriel slowly approached the source of the sound. He knew that what he was about to find could change everything. As he got closer, he saw that the sound was coming from an old freight elevator, hidden behind a wall of rotten wood. With effort, he managed to open the elevator's rusty door. The interior was covered in dust and cobwebs, but the metallic sound was unmistakable, coming from somewhere below. Gabriel stepped into the elevator, feeling the floor tremble beneath his feet as he descended slowly to an even deeper level of the basement. The darkness around him seemed to swallow him, and the only light came from his flickering flashlight. When the elevator stopped, he found himself in front of a long underground corridor, its walls lined with cracked tiles and moss. The metallic sound was louder now, almost deafening. Walking down the corridor, Gabriel noticed rusted metal doors on either side, some ajar, revealing abandoned rooms filled with old equipment and scattered papers. At the end of the corridor, a more imposing door stood out, with faded inscriptions that he could barely read. Pushing the door open, he found a vast room, illuminated by a dim light emanating from a series of old monitors. In the center of the room was a large table with scattered documents and a detailed map of the city. On the table, an audio recorder was on, repeating the same enigmatic message at regular intervals. The cycle must continue. The city must feed. Gabriel felt a chill run down his spine as he realized the city had a will of its own, a malevolent force that demanded sacrifices to continue existing. As he examined the documents, a hooded figure emerged from the shadows. "You shouldn't be here," said the figure in a hoarse, threatening voice. Gabriel took a step back, but before he could react, the figure gave him a penetrating look, as if it could see directly into his soul. "You are about to uncover a secret that many have died trying to protect. The city does not forgive the curious." The figure disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, leaving Gabriel with more questions than answers. He knew he couldn't back down now. The city's mystery and his father's disappearance were intertwined, and he was determined to unravel the truth, even if it meant facing the very darkness that dominated the city. Gabriel looked once more at the map on the table and noticed a marked point that matched the old bar where it all began. He knew this was his next destination. With his heart racing, he prepared to face whatever was waiting for him there. Gabriel left the basement with the diary in hand, determined to uncover what the now abandoned bar was hiding. The incessant rain continued to drench him as he crossed the narrow, dark streets, following the path marked on the map. Each step brought him closer to the point that seemed to be the heart of the city's mystery. Reaching the graffiti-covered building, Gabriel pushed the rusty door open, which creaked as it gave way. The interior of the old bar was dark and empty, except for some broken furniture and debris scattered across the floor. He turned on his flashlight, illuminating the forgotten corners of the place. The smell of mold and decay permeated the air, but Gabriel was undeterred. He knew the answer was there, somewhere. Exploring the space, he found a secret door hidden behind a loose panel on the wall. Forcing it open, he revealed a staircase that descended even deeper than the previous basement. Gabriel cautiously made his way down, each step creaking under his weight. The darkness was thick, and the feeling of being watched never left him. At the bottom, Gabriel found a vast underground chamber, illuminated only by candles arranged in ritualistic circles. In the center, there was an ancient altar, adorned with strange symbols and old books piled around it. The metallic sound that had been following him was now replaced by a low, threatening murmur. As he approached the altar, the hooded figure he had seen in the hotel basement emerged from the shadows, accompanied by other equally sinister figures. "You are truly brave, Gabriel," said the main figure, removing the hood and revealing a familiar face. It was his father, but his eyes were cold and lifeless, as if something had possessed him. "Father, how is this possible?" Gabriel asked, his voice trembling with incredulity. "I never really left, son. The city chooses us, traps us, and uses us for its own purposes. Now it's your turn to become part of it," his father said, in a voice that seemed to come from a deep, distant abyss. The other figures began to surround Gabriel, murmuring words in an unknown language. The ground started to tremble, and Gabriel felt an invisible force trying to overpower him. He remembered the diary in his hands and, in a desperate impulse, flipped to the last page, where he found a detailed map of the city with annotations made by his father. The notes described a specific point in the bar where an ancient mechanism was hidden. Gabriel ran to the described location, ignoring the murmurs and the threatening presence of the figures around him. He found a hidden lever, and with a pull, activated the mechanism. A deep rumble echoed through the chamber, and the figures began to dissipate, like shadows under the sun. His father, now appearing more human, took a step toward Gabriel. "You found the key, son. The city can no longer imprison us," he said, with a tone of relief and sadness. Gabriel helped his father out of the chamber, climbing back to the surface. The rain had ceased and the air was lighter. The city seemed different now, as if it had been freed from an ancient curse. Gabriel knew his journey was not yet complete, but he had hope that, finally, he could find peace. Walking through the still deserted streets, he decided that his next stop would be outside that city, in a place where he could start anew. Gabriel looked back one last time, knowing that despite everything, he had broken the cycle of pain and despair that the city imposed.